Hello, hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I just really wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm kind of new to YouTube, not really new to YouTube, but new to building my channel. Um, so I just kind of wanted to take a moment and kind of just introduce myself and introduce who I am, my business, and just so you can get to know me for a little bit. My name is Sherri Anderson. I am a new business owner. I recently just started and launched my business last year. The name of my business is SMA Credit Excellence. Let me turn this down a little bit. Sorry. But yeah, I just recently launched my business, SMA Credit Excellence, and it is a credit consulting company into where I help consumers make sure that their credit report is as accurate as it should be, right? So that's just a little bit, a quick snippet about my business. But who is Sherri? Um, I am, who am I? I am Sherri. I grew up in the city of Compton. That's where I'm from. I went to Longfellow Elementary in Compton. I went to Walton Middle School. I went to Compton High School. Um, Grew up in the city of Compton. That's where I'm from. Um, I am a mother of two. I have a daughter and I have a son. Um, I am outgoing, like to chill and relax, Netflix and chill. Um, and I'm just like, I'm just very personable, I guess you can say. I love talking, I love having conversations, and I just love kind of helping people, right? I've been in banking for over 11 years now. I've been in banking for a lot of years, and I recently have always come across customers or clients or members um, that just had a hard time getting approved for whether it was an auto loan or whether it was a credit card or like a personal loan, whatever that lending product was. I just always would come across those members or those clients that would have a hard time kind of just getting approved for the loan. And it kind of really pushed me to want to have an interest and kind of just know a little bit more about what credit is, right? And then to my own experiences with my credit challenges. I was married. I was in a relationship, and when things, when he decided to leave the relationship, um, he kind of left me holding the bag with all of the bills, which turned into kind of debt and things like that because majority of our bills and things like that was under my name. So, I'm newly divorced, just had my second child, and I'm trying to figure this life thing out, trying to transition from being married now into figuring life out all by myself with two small kids, right? So it was tough. It was definitely, and then I'm in a whole nother state to where I don't really have the family support, and I'm just kind of, there by myself with my two small kids, right? So I definitely have had my share experiences of things that I've been through with my credit. Um, I definitely am very transparent about my experience, about some of my situations and things that I've been through. I was in a situation to where I left the state that I was in. I came back to California because that's where I'm from and that's where I have family at. So I kind of just, came back to California. When I came back to California with my two kids, I was living from house to house. I was kind of just living from friend's house to family member's house. There was a point of time to where I was kind of like hotel hopping here, this, and there, all in the name of my credit was jacked up and I couldn't get approved for an apartment for I couldn't get approved for rental or whatnot for a rental apartment, right? So it was a lot going on. It was embarrassing. And it really kind of made me really look at my own credit situation to where I needed to figure out steps and figure out how to clean up my own credit report, right? There was a period of time to where, and there was a period of time to where I lived in a homeless shelter. I lived in a homeless shelter for a few months because I'm trying to get my money up and I'm trying to work on my credit report and I'm trying to just get things squared away so that I will never have to revisit that situation ever again, right? So I really wanted to learn, and I really kind of just really cleaned up my own stuff. I was my first client, really, honest to God, I was my first client. So I just kind of start learning and really learning how to spend my credit card debt. I really kind of started to manage the way that I was paying my bills. Once getting out of the relationships, bills started to be late. It is what it is. Some things even went to collections, and some things, ended up getting on my credit report and just really causing to be a negative type of thing on my credit report, right? So I started to pay off some things. There are some things that, yes, I needed to pay off. So every now and then at that time, I was just paying as much as I could because I'm trying to get this stuff removed off my debt, right? Trying to get this stuff removed off my report. So I would pay little by little as much as I can. And then I focused on one item at a time. And once I was done with that, okay, I disputed that with the bureaus and I said, I'm trying to get this removed off my debt, right, off my credit report or whatever. The next item, I tackled it one at a time. That was the method for me because, I'm a single mom. I'm trying to save up money because I need a place to live. And I'm trying to manage to take care of my two kids and making sure we have food and making sure that we're able to manage until we're in a better situation, right? And I have all this debt that has occurred, right? Um, outside of the marriage, or after the marriage was dissolved or whatever, I still have to tackle that or whatnot. And instead of just kind of blaming whomever it was or whatever it is, it is what it is. At the end of the day, all of it was under my credit. Everything was under my name. So when he decided he didn't no longer want to be in the relationship, it was left for me to take care of it, right? I live and I learn. That's all I could take from that. No sense of being mad about it. I just live and I learn, right? So I just started to tackle my debt one at a time. Really started to just really pay my bills on time because that's another thing that has slipped. After kind of newly singled and newly in a predicament to where I'm trying to figure out life by myself all over again, because before I got married I was single on my own, but I didn't have kids. So getting married, having two kids within the marriage, and then getting divorced after a few years, after 5 years of marriage, I was divorced with two whole kids, right? I could do single by myself. I could manage and pick back up by myself, but now I had two little faces looking at me like, okay, mom, what's next? What are we doing? Or whatnot, right? So it was really an adjustment, and it was hard, trust and believe, because there was times to where I felt lonely. There was times to where I felt by myself. There was times to where I was so embarrassed about my situation that I really couldn't talk to nobody about what was going on. Like, even when I came back to California, I was pretty much suffering in silence because I'm back and this is where my family's at, but nobody really knew what I was going through because I was that ashamed about my situation. I was ashamed about the being divorced, right? Because I didn't get married to get divorced. So I was ashamed about that. I was ashamed about the infidelity that took place in the marriage, you have all these different thoughts are just going through your head, and you don't want to talk to nobody about it. You don't want to explain it. You just kind of just don't really want nobody to know because you don't want to have to answer a whole bunch of questions That's what it was for me. Like, I didn't want to have to keep explaining, or I didn't want people in my business. I didn't want, people to look at me differently. Um, I don't know. I just went through a lot. I went through a lot of just embarrassment and just a lot of shame about the whole situation altogether. Even coming back to where I'm from, coming back to where family was at for me, I still didn't feel comfortable enough to open up to anybody in my family. Like, that's real talk. So I'm out here trying to figure out life by myself. Like, nobody even knew to this day, just my sister. Nobody to this day even really knew that I was living in a homeless shelter for months on end. So I was suffering in silence, right? But anyways, I've got over that. I've definitely gotten over that. I definitely have um bust my butt to make sure that, me and my kids will never have to be in that situation again. So, with me working on my own credit because of just some of the life things that I went through, I definitely um and being a newly single mom, I definitely just wanted to learn it and share it with the next single mom, or with the next single mom, or single woman that could be out there and thinking that, because I know a lot of times when we go through divorce, especially us as women, we sometimes think that is there life after divorce? I mean, I know that was a thought for me. I mean, I'm like in this mind frame to where now I have to start all the way over because I didn't get married to get divorced. But now I'm in a predicament to where now I am no longer in a relationship and I have two little faces looking at me. And I'm trying to figure out, can I do this life thing with two little kids or whatnot? So you kind of just go through those different scenarios in your head, and you're kind of, there's so much that you're thinking about, and there's so much that it's like, okay, the weight of the world feel like is on you. And there's those moments to where you don't know if you can accomplish, you don't know if you can pull through. Like, that's what it was for me. I didn't know. There was moments to where I didn't know if I can do this. There was moments to where I wanted to call my sister up and be like, hey, can you take my kids for a few months, because I really need to get my stuff together or whatnot. But I kept pushing through. I kept pushing through. I kept going through my situation. um and I just kept pushing through and kept just kind of moving forward, and not focusing too much on what my situation was at the time, but I had to keep remembering that there's greater on the other side. Like, really, um really, God and the word is really was really my everything that kept me together. That's no lie. Even though I was going to church, and I was going still going to church at the time, mad at God probably a little bit because of everything that I was dealing with, but I kept going to church every Sunday. And every chance that I got to go to a Bible study, I went to Bible study because I worked during the week. But every Sunday I just kept going to church, kept going to church, kept going to church, even though I would sit there and maybe not give God all of me, but I kept going and kept seeking God, and kept getting fed by him, until slowly but surely I started to see change within myself. Like, I started to be happy again. I started to feel like that I can do this again. Like, I started to kind of, it was like a newness of life started to come over me. Because I was at a point where I wanted to give up. Like, listen, I was at a point to where I was kind of just done, and I was like, listen, this is too much. Why am I going through all of this, right? And I just feel like a lot of women out there, you probably have experienced some of the same things, or maybe maybe not some of the same things that I necessarily, but just situations to where you feel like that you can't push through or you can't get by certain things or whatever. That's just some of the stuff that I've been through, right? But anyways, to get back on track of my credit, um, so just all of those life experiences and just all of those scenarios just really made me want to push forward and really learn what credit was. So I figured out a class that I could take, and I started to learn. I learned about credit. I was my first client to where I started disputing things on my behalf. And I started just really kind of just doing things differently. I really changed my mindset to really kind of like schedule the way that I was paying my bills. So I have a planner. I every month. Every month, I would look at my bills for the month, and I started writing down my bills in my planner because my planner is like my go to for everything. So I started writing down my bills. I started looking at the due dates. I started looking at the months ahead to see, okay, I get paid this Friday and this Friday here. This bill needs to be paid off this check. This bill needs to pay it off of that check. And I really started to get a system going to make sure that I was paying my bills on time. I did that. I started off with the secure card. I couldn't get approved for a card, a credit card, right? So I got a secure card. I've been in banking forever, so of course I've had access to a secure card at the place of business where I work, right? So I was able to get a secure card, up fronted the money. I had a low security deposit. I mean, I had a low credit limit. I believe my credit limit was like 200 to start off with, and I just started using under 30%, right? I started only using 30% of that 200. So what would I do? I think I connected my Netflix bill onto that credit card. I added my Netflix bill, which is like probably $12 or $13 a month. I kind of just set up that one bill to go off of that card. And then every month I would just pay that off in full, not carrying over a balance. These are just some of the things that I did because I was so focused and I was so motivated to clean up my credit because I still needed a place to live. This is all while I'm in a homeless shelter, mind you. I'm still in a homeless shelter at this time, but I started taking the steps and started doing things to start to clean up my report, right? Um, some months went by, and I started looking for an apartment again, right? Some months went by. I started looking for an apartment again. And I said, I came back out to the area that I wanted to live in because I didn't want to stay in LA. So I kind of came back out to the Riverside area because I kind of wanted to not be too far from LA, but I didn't want to be in LA. So I came out to Riverside because I was like, it's a nice area. Let me check out some apartments out here, whatever. So I came back to the first apartment that I had initially tried to get approved for a year ago. The year before, I had started looking again or whatever, right? And I applied. I don't know, something just said apply, and I applied, and then they called me within a few days and said that I had gotten approved, right? So all this time had went by, and I was just so excited that I got approved, and then had been saving because I had my deposit ready, I had the deposit ready, and I had first month's rent ready, and I was ready, say go. When can I sign the lease agreement? When can I move in, or whatever? So that helped me or whatever. My credit still wasn't where I wanted it to be. It was approval enough for me to get approved for an apartment, but it still wasn't where I wanted it to be because I wanted to be able to have good credit. I wanted to be in a situation to where that if life happened again, that I'm not going to have a problem getting approved for a personal loan. I'm not going to have a problem, getting approved for the next apartment building. Or after I've stayed here for some time or whatever, maybe I want to start looking for a house. I don't want to have a problem getting approved for the house that I destined to have in the future. Or when I'm ready to get that new car that I know that I deserve, because I definitely need a new car. Um, I'm definitely going to get a new car though. But when I'm ready to get that new car or whatever, I want to be able to approve with no issues, right? So at the time when I moved, was getting ready to move to the apartment and getting ready to kind of just get settled and get things situated. I was able to approve for the apartment. Thank God for that. But my credit still wasn't where I wanted it to be, right? Because I didn't want to have no more credit issues. I didn't want to have nothing. So I continued to still work. I still continued to still work on those bills that needed to be paid. I still continued to pay whatever debts that I needed to go ahead and pay off. And I still would dispute on my own behalf. I still had that secure card that I use responsibly every month. I didn't use it for too much. I had my Netflix bill on there, and then every now and then I would take the kids down to like McDonald's or whatever. Let's say if it was a night I didn't really feel like cooking or something, I would just take them down to McDonald's and get something off of the menu and just swipe my debit card and then just pay that back every month, right? Because I'm still within that, I'm still staying under the credit utilization of 30% of what my credit limit was, right? Making sure that I did not go over what that amount was. I definitely stayed faithful to that. And then just making sure that I was just managing my bills properly. Like now I had rent, now I had like electricity bills. I was making sure I was managing all of that on time because I didn't want the progress that I made to my report to go down. I wanted it to keep escalating. All right. So before I knew it, the secure card turned into an unsecure card. After a few months of using that responsibly, my bank sent me they upgraded my card to an unsecured card and they increased the credit limit. So I was like, okay, I must be doing something right here. Like I started to see certain things manifest and I started to see improvement to where it's like, okay, I'm doing some stuff right here with my credit. And then once I started disputing, um I started disputing some items online, which as a credit consultant, you definitely don't want to dispute things online. I know that now, but then I didn't know that. But some of the items I was able to get um deleted by disputing online, and then there were some that I wasn't able to get removed off of my credit report. So I kind of at this time was like in a urge to just want to learn how to really dispute and learn how to really just learn the ins and out of building a better credit score and teaching other people or whatever. So really my life experiences really put me into this business to want to learn more and then help people get their credit reports on track or whatnot. I tell people all the time, it's not an overnight process. It didn't take it. What my experiences was not overnight. Like it literally, it took me a good year for me to get approved for the apartment, and that was just the start of it. It was in a fair little spot there, but it still wasn't in the 700s where my goal was to get it at. But even after getting approved for the apartment building, I didn't stop because my goal was to get in the 700s or whatnot. So I just kept doing those things that I was doing. And when I got the increase for when my secure card turned into an unsecured credit card and my credit limit was increased, I started to kind of get like those offers and stuff. You get those offers of you can apply for this, that, and the other. I didn't take the bait. I didn't take the bait because every time you apply for new credit, even though I could have probably used like, a little bit of extra, a little personal loan or something, but I didn't take the bait. I'm still learning. I still was learning how to manage the money that I had coming from my paycheck because I wanted to be in a spot to where it's like, let me learn how to manage what I have before I even add other debt. And then now knowing too that every time you're adding new debt, that lowers your score. So you don't want to just be recklessly applying for new debt if you don't really need it, and if it's not really, let's say it's not really the time for it, right? When I'm ready for the mortgage, or when I'm ready to start house shopping, it's going to be at the time to where I'm ready for it, and at the time that, okay, um it's going to be at the time to where I'm ready to have my credit pull or whatever. And that's another thing that I've learned, that I don't want to just have my credit reports pulled recklessly every like month, because before, before getting the apartment, I was just applying recklessly for stuff, just trying to get approved. I can remember just trying to apply for, like, when you go to like the little check cashing places and you're trying to apply for those little quick loans of like 2,500 or whatever. I was applying for those. Like, these are just some of the mistakes that I've made, and I've definitely learned from them. And that's why I'm in the position that I'm in, to now be a certified credit consultant. I opened my business as a credit consulting company because I want to be able to teach other individuals to not go through some of the same things that I went through. So I'm very transparent. That's why I'm so open and honest about some of the stuff that I've been through. Um, but yeah, I definitely would go to those check cashing places and try to approve for a loan, and it was just getting frustrating and exhausting, just applying. And I kept getting denied every chance, like every time. And I think I was trying very often, because it was so many inquiries on my credit report. At the time, I didn't know though. Like, nobody, me growing up, nobody taught me about credit. When I was 18, listen, when you turn 18, you get all of these credit card offers. When I was 18, I had about 4 credit cards. Like, off the rip, I had like about 4 or 5 credit cards. Didn't know no better. Nobody taught me nothing about credit. Nobody didn't teach me anything about how to use a credit card or anything. And that's the honest to God truth. Nobody taught me those things. So I'm 18, out here, graduated from high school, about to go to college, out here thinking I'm up here balling with like 4 or 5 credit cards. I'm in the mall being cute and just swiping a credit card, like living my best life at 18, 19, not thinking that I'm incurring all of this debt. And at some point, you're going to have to pay this back. Nobody taught me that. Like, nobody taught me how to manage my card. Nobody taught me that, you're gonna have to pay this stuff back or whatever. And because I wasn't taught, and I didn't really care to learn at that time, because I'm just out here just doing whatever, just living my best life. Um, I didn't really think to get the knowledge or get the education behind credit or whatnot. So I'm very, very passionate about what I do. I don't take it lightly, and I know that I don't take it lightly when I come across a new client and I take them on as a client, and they agree to they agree to come on as a client and all of that stuff. I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted, of what you are entrusting me to be responsible over your credit report. Now, do I have the power to go into the credit bureau systems and increase your score from, and guarantee you 100 points increase after 30 days? No. And I definitely don't guarantee those type of results to any of my clients, but I definitely will sit down with you. We will do a thorough, detailed credit audit of your credit report. We're going to talk about all of those items line by line, and we are going, if you agree to be a client of mine, we will start disputing those negative items that do not belong on your credit report. I work my ass off for my clients. Um, and I don't give up. Like, I don't give up. I keep working, as long as you maintain and keep your credit monitoring active. Um, as long as you do not apply for new credit throughout this process. That's something that I'm always educating my clients on. It's if you're going to be serious about trying to see a difference on your credit report and see a difference on your credit score, you don't want to be applying for new credit while you're going through this credit restoration process. Every time you apply for new credit, it lowers your scores. And if you're a person that's just starting out with credit, like every time your credit gets pulled, it's lowering it about what, 6 to 8, 9 points. That's a lot. If you just starting off with credit, if you ain't got no credit, that's a lot of little points right there that you losing out on every time you apply for something new or whatever. Every time you make a payment late, that also lowers your score. So, really, really holding my clients accountable, because and I know that a lot of people don't I let my clients know that I'm probably going to get on your nerves throughout this process, because every month when we do those updates, and every time we get those updates and your reports refresh, I'm going to be looking at your report. I'm going to see how you're managing your debt, how you're managing your bills. Is this paid on time? Is your credit card debt under that 30? I require my clients to try to maintain and keep it under 15%, just for excellent results throughout the process. But I give them that leadway of no more than 30%. Do not use no more than 30% of that credit limit. But I really aim and I really strongly suggest that my clients use no more than 15% of what their credit limit is throughout that process, because we want excellent results. We want excellent results, period, or whatnot. So I'm that credit consultant that is going to really walk with you through this thing. I'm going to really kind of educate you on different credit building products. I offer 2 credit building products right now. If you go to my website at www.smacreditexcellence.com, I have 2 credit building products that will help you start establishing positive credit lines. So really educating my clients about those credit building products and things that they can do to start building positive credit. Because listen, we can go ahead and dispute all of the negative items on your report, and let's just say, for an example, that all of the negative items on your credit report gets deleted. If you're not building that positive credit while those items are being deleted, it's not really working in your favor. So that's why it's important for people to know that you have to use credit in order to build it. It's all about your mindset and how you use the credit. Do I educate my clients to max out their cards? Absolutely not, because that's irresponsibly using your credit card. You never should be maxing out any of your credit cards. You should only be using no more than 30% of what that credit limit is. Again, I recommend for my clients, especially while you're going through the credit restoration process, to use no more than 15%. All right. So, I definitely am very hands-on with my clients. I do Zoom. I do a intro phone call to kind of meet with you and introduce myself and introduce what I do. I get on a call with you for about 15 minutes. If you're interested in moving forward, you would move forward and set up the credit audit appointment. That is a Zoom appointment that I do with all of my clients. It's for 1 hour. And you set up your credit monitoring, and we together will go over your credit report. We'll go ahead and do that credit audit. We're going to talk about everything on your credit report, and then from there we start disputing. That's my process. I love what I do. I love what I do. And I'm definitely am passionate about educating and making sure that people understand how to really change their mindset when it comes to their credit, recognize their credit worth, like really recognize your credit worth, and know that your credit doesn't have to stay where it is. If you really implement the tools, and if you implement and really kind of take the steps and take the education that I'm giving, you will see results. You definitely will. Because here's the thing, even after you leave my process, like credit, credit restoration, it could be 6 months, it can go as long as 9 months. It just depends on your credit file. It depends on how much stuff is on your credit file. Some people have longer files than the next person, so it might take about 9 to 12 months. It took my report, it took me a good year. It took me really a good year. And even after that good year, I still didn't stop. I really kind of changed the way that I was paying my bills and changed how I was spending my credit card, that kept my score increasing. So, it just depends on your situation. Everybody's situation is different. No one person's situation is going to be the same. Everybody's credit situation is totally different. So, I take on clients for at least 6 months. And that's the shortest. At least 6 months. And it could be up to 9, it could be up to 12 months. It just all depends on what you want to do. Um, but that's just my process. But I definitely am very honest with my clients. I'm very I will probably get on your nerves. There probably might be some appointments, because I do monthly check-ins with my clients, to where there are some moments that you probably gonna be like, oh, Sherri again. And you're gonna be like, you probably ain't gonna want to talk to me, and that's fine, it's okay. But I'm gonna walk you through this thing. Like, we're gonna walk through this thing together, because I want to see each of my clients move into credit excellence. I want to see that. Even after you're done with my process, if you only want to do 6 months with me, that's fine. But after that 6 months is over, I want to make sure that I gave you everything that I needed to give you, to make sure that you have all of the tools, all of the resources, to keep maintaining and keep building towards credit excellence. All right. So that's me. That's a little bit about me. It's a little bit about my business. Um, Please like and share my video. Please visit my website. You can go to my website at www.SMA Credit Excellence. That's the name of my website. You can follow me on Instagram. My page is SMA Credit Excellence. You can follow my Facebook business page at SMA Credit Excellence. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Sherri_Monique. All right. It's been fun talking with you. I really hope that you were able to kind of just learn a little bit more about me, as I continue to do more videos, and kind of get to know um, just kind of do more videos, so you can kind of get to know me a little bit more. But I really hope that this was, something that just helps you to learn just a little bit something about who I am and my business, and what I enjoy doing so much, and how I enjoy educating. I really enjoy educating clients, and women, and consumers, and men, to just put themselves in a better position to walk in credit excellence. Like, listen, I don't believe that it was God's goal for us to be fearing denial on credit applications, or fearing that we're not going to get the house. I don't believe that was his purpose and his plan for us. I really feel like that God wants us to have the wealth. He wants us to have the abundance. He wants us to walk in excellence. And that's in every area. That's with our credit. That's with our finances. That's with ourselves, and how we treat people, and how we talk to people. Our attitude should be in excellence. every part of us from head to toe should be excellent, you know? So I'm passionate about what I do. And I feel like that, your credit is everything. People may not believe it. People may not really get it, but your credit is everything. There are doors that you can walk into if your credit is in good standing, if your credit is in excellent shape. You can have all the cash in the world, but there are doors that you can't walk into holding just cash. There are doors that you definitely will have access to if your credit score is where it needs to be. And I believe that. I do. I believe that. I believe that I could have $1 million in my bank account right now, but if my credit report is like, my credit score is like a 520, what am I doing? Like, they finna be looking at me like, yeah, your bank account looks nice, but your credit score ain't balancing out to where your account looks like. So I definitely feel like it's that time and it's that season for us to level up in our credit. We have to change our mindset with the way that we do our bills and how we're spending. Definitely believe that. So I have my launch opening coming up that I'm so excited about. Not giving too much information about that, but it is soon to come. I'll be coming back on with some details about that once I get things kind of settled with that. Um, I'm not going to even put the date out yet because I kind of want to secure the venue first. But just look for that information because it's coming. I'm really excited about this launch. But I thank you guys for visiting. I thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing evening, and I'll see you guys next time.